Hey, what's up guys, it's Nemo from Nemo Corp, and today I will show you how to jailbreak an iPhone 3GS, which is the older model of the iPhone, which in this case doesn't have a power button, so going into DFU mode is impossible. So I will show you how to use different kind of tools that is available to us to do that. Also, something I've noticed is that the since upgrading to firmware 6.1.3, or actually when I search online, so any firmware above 6.0, there seems to be having a glitch with the Wi-Fi signal. And to show you that, guys, I have the iPhone 3GS which is on firmware 6.1.3, and my iPhone 4S, which is on firmware 5.01, which is also a very old one. But nevertheless, let's see, you see there that the signal bar in here we have 2, in here we have 3, which is full. And for this, let's use the same tool on both, and let's check the speed that we have. So if we do the test on the iPhone 4S and on the iPhone 3GS, we see that the ping on the iPhone 4S is at 18 milliseconds, and the speed is ranging, from 25 to 27. And both of them are at the same distance of the wireless router, obviously in this case. And as you can see, there is a tremendous time for the 3GS, and the ping is 84. But I'm not worried about the ping that much. It's just that the download speed is awful. It doesn't want to do anything. The upload is a little bit better, but that doesn't help for my liking. So as we see, even it's restarting. So if we try a restart, and just for the fun of it, let's restart as well here, just to show you that it is a problem with the wireless. It's maybe from the firmware, from that firmware 6 point something, it's affecting more on certain devices, but I've seen online that it affects 4S and other other Apple's devices as well. Alright, so anyway, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to show you how to jailbreak this iPhone 3GS on 6.1.3 and jailbreak it so that I will show you how to do it even with the broken power button. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so let's check the tools that we have to our disposition. So basically, there are a couple that we, the jailbreak community have created and we know of. And in this case, what we're going to use first is Redsn. So to be sure, when you start Redsn, make sure that it's set to compatibility for Windows XP Service Pack 2, and you start it as administrator. You're gonna get a pop-up, and you just have to accept it and click yes. This is on Windows 7. Okay, so the interface itself, there are quite a lot of things, and what we're gonna do, what I forgot to do, is that I'm gonna plug first my my iPhone 3GS, which doesn't seem to be looking like an iPhone at the moment, but yes. So let's plug it in. We hear the little sound that it does. It is detected by Windows, and what we're going to do, again, start as administrator or run as administrator for the Redsn. Accept this little pop-up just to show you. And once we are here, so let's go to extra. What we need to do, and this is specific for iPhones that don't have the power button, and because of that we can't go into DFU mode. So to go around that, using Redsn, you have to go to extras and even more, and there you will see DFU IPSW. So this will allow us to create an IPSW firmware, which will, at the end of it, will allow us to go into DFU mode using iTunes, the latest iTunes. So in this case, let's create one. and it will say that it will cause the device to enter DFU mode at the end. Otherwise iTunes will not allow it to do that, obviously. So let's click on OK. And here what we need to do, we need to select the firmware. For us in this case is the 3GS 6.1.3, and I'm pointing to the wrong one. Those are the other files that I will show you later on when and how to create them. So this is the file that we need, and in this case I have gone through that process. And what the tool will do, what redsn0w will do, is that it will create this custom enter DFU mode IPSW firmware. So in here I don't want to create it because I already have it, so I'll just quit the process. Something else as well that we can see with the redsn0w is that it will give us for the 3GS the bootrom, and it's very important to know the bootrom if it's an old or the new bootrom for the following process. So in here at the moment we don't see any information. Actually we see it. I just have to move the window of redsn0w to get it showing. So we see that the firmware connected is the 6.1.3, and we see this is the old bootrom. And it's very important to know that because only the old bootrom allow us at the moment to jailbreak on 6.1.3 untethered. Otherwise it has to be a tethered jailbreak, meaning that you need to have a computer next to you when you restart the phone, otherwise it won't start. Otherwise you can have a semi-untethered jailbreak, but in this case, for the purpose of this video, I will just show you how to do it with the old bootrom, and which is an untethered jailbreak. Right, so now let's go to the tools itself. And so we saw redsn0w was useful in this case to see the bootrom for the 3GS, but also to create the custom IPSW that will allow us to start or to enter DFU mode. And what we need to do now is simply access iTunes, and we're going to use this shift restore to restore this IPSW. It will allow us to enter DFU mode. Once we are in DFU mode, we're going to use Snowbreeze to get us into the firmware 6.1.3 and to jailbreak it. So I will just quickly show you Snowbreeze, what we're going to do in there. So Snowbreeze is obviously a free tool, so if you paid for it, you know, try to get your money back. Okay, so as you see here, 6.1.3 is tethered for devices other than iPhone 3GS old bootrom. So in this case, the bootrom that I have is the old one, and it's an iPhone 3GS. So in this case, on 6.1.3, it will be an untethered jailbreak, meaning you don't have to have the computer next to you when you restart the phone, which is perfect. Alright, instead of going inside, I will now go into iTunes and put the phone into DFU mode. Remember, this phone, I don't have the power button, or the power button doesn't work. So if I, show you, I will unlock the phone, and then once it's in, with this speed meter not working, or not, not giving us any speed, or the bars is really unstable. So I mean, you can hear it. I'm clicking on it and it doesn't work. Alright, so very annoying iPhone 3GS. Let's go into the next step of the process to basically jailbreak this iPhone 3GS in 6.1.3. I mean, I'm just showing it to you. Nevertheless, this bars and the Wi-Fi problem are still there, but I just want to show you how to jailbreak it to 6.1.3 untethered. But also at the end, I'm hoping to show you how to downgrade it to a previous firmware, which I have the SHSH blob served on my Cydia server or on the iPhone itself. I think it's more on the Cydia server that is saved, that we can retrieve and downgrade via iTunes itself. Okay, so let me get started and start iTunes in this case. So what we need to do, we need to wait patiently for the iPhone to be detected. In this case, we can see it has been detected, and if I move the phone, it's just syncing. Oh, it's doing some backup things. Okay, right. So what we need to focus on, we need to focus on this stage. It is at the latest version. Click on the shift button on your keyboard, hold it, and now press on restore iPhone. What this is going to do, this is going to point to selection of an IPSW. So we need one that has the enter DFU mode to allow us to go and jailbreak the device. So let's select it. It will be restoring the phone. So before you do that, and I should have said, make sure you back up everything, your apps, your photos, your voice recording, which you can't access really with iTunes. So be sure that everything is backed up correctly. And once you've done that, click on restore, but know that everything will be lost unless you've backed it up. So now the phone is in recovery mode. We received the error that it couldn't be restored. It's in recovery mode, and we must use iTunes to restore it. So this is perfect. The phone itself is exactly as the state that we wanted in the black screen. It's in DFU mode now. Right, so what we need to do, just click on OK and close iTunes. Let's come back to our tools, and in this case what we're going to use now Snowbreeze. Let's start it as administrator and pop up, just click yes. And what we need to do once it's started is to click on the little arrow here and select the IPSW. In this case, which is the original 6.1.6. This is for the old bootrom. It has been verified. Click on next. We want to go to the expert mode, general, click next. We want to activate the phone, and we don't worry about the SSH or the partition at the moment. I've seen that creating the custom logo and the recovery logo has some problems sometime, and so in this case I will just disable the custom bootrom, custom logo, sorry. We don't want to install any packages, so we can go next. And now what we need to do, we need to click on the iReb here. We don't want to build the custom IPSW. We have a custom IPSW that we have created. And in this case, what we want to do is we want to jailbreak directly. And this will allow us to do that. So if we go to iReb, run iReb. Do you want to run iReb for Apple TV 2? No. So we have the device which is on DFU mode, and we're going to click on start, and we see it's going to run iReb. The device is now pound, black screen. You may now launch iTunes and do shift restore to the custom Snowbreeze IPSW located on your desktop. So just to let you know, because there is no lock button on this phone, I had to create the IPSW from Snowbreeze. So once we use the Snowbreeze tool, it will create what we call a Snowbreeze iPhone custom firmware. This firmware we're going to use now to jailbreak the iPhone 3GS, which is on 6.1.3 from iTunes. So let's open iTunes. It says the phone is in recovery mode. Perfect, this is what we want. Right click on hold the shift button on the keyboard and click on restore. Select the firmware Snowbreeze, the custom firmware that Snowbreeze created for us, and let's see if we can now go to the jailbreak stage, or that the phone will restore the jailbroken custom firmware. As we see now, it says it's been restored to factory settings, and it will take some time to reboot. So in iTunes, it's asking me if I want to create the backup, or if I want to set up a new one. So I'll just say that I want to set up a new one. I think my phone is starting up, so I'll set up a new one, click continue, syncing iPhone. Right, so let's see. I'll just minimize iTunes, and here the phone is starting up. As you saw, it was rebooting, and let's try to unlock it. I'll just put the settings of my wireless router. Okay, wireless is connected. Click on next. Enable location. Skip the part about the Apple ID. It's taking some time here. Agree to the terms and condition. Don't send diagnostics and usage. Start using. Right, so let's see now. Ta-da! We have Cydia. Well, the only problem is still the internet. It's very, very slow, so I don't even know if we're going to be able to access. Let's try to access the web and see if we can get somewhere. So you see that even here, just accessing Google it's taking forever. those are my Revo is the Air player on my Revo Media Center, and the Google TV is the Android sticks. And it's still taking time. Right, let's just show you that Cydia is here. I will use the user mode. Oops. This is probably going to take forever too. Let's go to the about just quickly. We see Cydia installer, obviously by Zorik. I think this is going to take a very long time with the internet speed that's causing problem on this 6.1.3 device. I'll just stop and bring back, hopefully when everything has loaded. Alright, so let's access the phone again and see that Cydia is there now. I have loaded it really close to my wireless router, and now I can access it. It's a bit weird, but it seems to be the problem with the firmware, unfortunately. I mean, I don't want to change my wireless router to a lower security one, so I've left it as it is. As you can see, it's on iOS 6.1.3, Cydia 1.1.8, and it's my iPhone 3GS. Okay, and so here, you know, you can search for sources as usual and manage the sources or the packages and things like that. Let's see what we have here. That's installed. The latest updates and things like that. Okay, great. Now I'm not happy with the Wi-Fi signal, and I'm thinking to downgrade this 6.1.3 firmware to a lower firmware, to something where the Wi-Fi signal doesn't cause this much problem. So I'm going to do that and show you in the video how to proceed to downgrade a firmware which is on 6.1.3 to a lower firmware using SHSH blobs that you have saved on your Cydia servers. Okay, so let's do that now. So what we've done now, we've got the phone back into DFU mode. To do that, we had to basically go to iTunes, shift click on restore with the DFU custom 6.1.3 firmware. So now it's in DFU mode. What we can do, we can use again iTunes, and with the help of the tool iFaith, we have created Actually, I will show you how to create this, because that's a stage which is very important. So let's run as administrator. And let's click on OK. Basically what we're gonna do, we're gonna get all the SHSH that's cached on our server. So in this case we see that there are 2 which have been signed and registered with the iTunes server. So let's fetch the blog which are activated. We see there's one for 6.1.3 because we just registered it and done it. So we see there's one for 6.1.3 and one for 4.1, which is fine. And we see that all those as well, since I had the phone, once I've jailbroken it, all those versions of my firmware were saved into Cydia. And from the time that I didn't use my phone anymore and didn't access to Cydia, it stopped at that time. So newer firmware were not backed up. So what I've done, and what you should do as well, is to download all the available blobs. Once you do that, you can then go to the main screen here of the iFaith. And click on build signed IPS blob. So as you have your SHSH saved into your hard drive, you can browse for those, and I have mine saved in the folder specifically with all the SHSH, with all the versions of my 3GS. And basically the one we're going to use and create a custom firmware with is this one, the 5.1.1. This is the latest version that my phone has saved, and this firmware is actually the one I want to use, because I know for a fact that this firmware should have a better signal, and from there we can just create the custom firmware. So browse for that. We just did. We just selected the SHSH of 5.1.1, which was from my 3GS, saved into Cydia, and we've saved it back onto the computer and found it there. It says the provider appliquette looks valid, so that's a good sign. And then what we need to do now, we need to browse for an Ipsw. For, in this case, the original 5.1.1. It's verifying the Ipsw. I have already done so, and I have created the custom iFaith and with the 5.1.1 firmware to downgrade my 6.1.3. But let's this one run just in case as well. So as we see here, it shows that we can build the Ipsw. This is what I've done, so I'm not going to go through that process again. And thanks to all those guys that have participated in the community, that have made this tool available to us, and the jailbreak wouldn't be the same without those guys, obviously. So let's come back. We can exit the tool because we have already the custom build firmware, which is this for us. Not this one, sorry, this one. Alright, so we've got the phone basically in DFU mode, but we need to make sure that it's in pound DFU mode. So let's start the tools. Let's start Snowbreeze, and let's start it as administrator. Yes, to allow it. Then here we're just going to bypass everything. We just want to put into pawn DFU mode. So let's start with ireb and run ireb. No, it's not Apple TV 2, so we click on no, and we'll click on start here, running ireb, and it says now it's in pawn DFU mode, the black screen. That's fine, so iTunes will now recognize it. We can close Snowbreeze, and let's start iTunes. iTunes has detected that the phone is in recovery mode. Perfect. Let's click on Shift and Restore. And here what we need to do, we need to take the iPhone iFaith 5.1.1, which is the signed one. And we are hoping to get this downgrade working now. So we see that the phone has been restored and it's going to restart. And we are going to set the phone as new on iTunes. Click on continue. And here, let's unlock the phone. Enable location. Hopefully the wireless should be better this time. Let's check this out. Click on next, skip this step, click on agree, don't send, and let's start using it. Okay, now let's see the version, general about. This is now on version 5.1.1, and remember we were before on 6.1.3. So the downgrade of the firmware has worked. So basically, to summarize, we've used Redsnow to create custom DFU mode for Ipsw that allow us to restore to that specific custom firmware and enter into DFU mode, because we don't have the power button available to be able to go into DFU mode by holding the home button and the power button. So in this case, this is the reason why we had to go and use the DFU mode special custom firmware, and we've used Redsnow to be able to create that. Then we used Snowbreeze to be able to jailbreak the 6.1.3 firmware. Which was an old bootrom or a 3GS, and we found out that we still had some problems, and we wanted to downgrade using the SSH or the SHSH blobs saved onto Cydia server. And for that we used a tool called iFaith to be able to download those SHSH files from the server to our local machine, create a custom signed package, a custom signed firmware that will allowed us to access iTunes and downgrade our 6.1.3 firmware into a 5.1.1. and I had to do that because the firmware 6.0 and onwards had problems with the Wi-Fi signal. In this case, we see that it's still showing as 1 bar, 2 bar, but when you do access any sites, you will see that the speed has increased. You see that it's loading much faster. It's much easier to navigate. So just to recap, guys, the file that we used, so we need the original 6.1.3 firmware as well as the 6.0 firmware. So we need to download both of them. I'll give you the link in the descriptions where to download those. In the case of restoring, we needed also the firmware for 5.1.1. With those, we've created the 6.1.3 DFU Mode firmware. I've also created one for the 5.1.1 for the jailbreak purpose, which I'm going to show you in a bit. From there, we were able to jailbreak 6.1.3 using Snowbreeze, and we were not happy with it, so we were able to downgrade from 6.1.3 to 5.1.1 with iFaith. As we see, the iPhone itself has now been downgraded to 5.1.1, sorry, and everything is working as it should. You know, the wireless signal is perfect. The Wi-Fi, sorry, the Wi-Fi is working accordingly. I've done a few tests near the router, away from the router, and it's much better than 6.0 and onwards. So what I'm going to do now, I want to jailbreak it. I will just show you again, guys, that it is on 5.1.1. So as you see here, you can tell that it is on 5.1.1. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to show you how to jailbreak it with an untitled tool called Absent, and for that I will also include the link on where to download this, and maybe I will put a package of all of those files together. Once you download Absent for Windows, you need to just run it in compatibility mode. So in this case, what we're going to do, we're going to put it as Windows XP SP3. Once we change the settings for that exe, we need to run it as administrator. So let's try and change that to Windows XP Service Pack 3. Start the program. Click no, and then now what we're going to do, we're just going to click on run as administrator, click yes to the little pop-up here. What this is going to do, this is going to show you, this is going to show a verbose lineup here. This is generating the required files for the execution of the tool. From there, we will have a folder on the desktop, which we're going to use. I see Rocky Raccoon here, and we see all the iPad version, iPhone versions, iPods. It's extracting all the files that we require. The tool will also automatically detect what device is connected to the computer via USB. Now it's nearly done. Now it's done. Okay. So what we're gonna have now, we see that we have another folder in here called Absent, and this is the executable. So just to be sure, I'm going to run this in troubleshooting mode as Windows XP Service Pack 3. So the settings have been applied. What I'll do now, I'll start as administrator. Before that, I will plug my phone back into the computer. So plugging the device back in, hear the little sound. The phone is charging as usual. I will not run absent. We see that iTunes is opening up, so I'll just quickly close it. No need for iTunes at the moment. Right click on absent, run as administrator. Say yes to this little annoying pop-up of Windows. So it has detected the phone as 3GS 5.1.1, and what we need to do now, we just need to click on the jailbreak button. Jailbreak begins. It may take a little while. Let's check. And we have now Cydia. Great. Let's open up Cydia. By the way, we can close the tool absent now that everything is done. Right, that Cydia is now installed. Once the jailbreak is finished, we run it. It's going to ask us to choose what mode we want to run it as. We want to run it as user. We don't want to see anything else. To be honest with you, the other options are not really useful for us. And we see that Cydia is opening up, and at the bottom we can see it's running on iOS 5.1.1 with Cydia 1.1.6, and it's on my 3GS. And obviously now everything is accessible as before. You can tweak the phone, download themes, download different kind of options for it to be able to customize it and whatnot. And I have another video with my iPhone 4S customized. You can have a look at it and see if there's anything that interests you, and you can then maybe apply the same for your 3GS. So thanks a lot, guys. It's been quite a long tutorial, but I hope it is useful for everyone out there that don't have the power button, and also which is the problem that everyone faced, the problem with the Wi-Fi signal of iPhones, iOS from 6.0 and onwards. Even for the 6.1.3 we had Wi-Fi problems. So I showed you guys how to restore it. I hope you guys know how to do it now, and if there's anything, any problem, just put any comment down below in the of this video, and you will be able to restore your phone as I did myself, restore it to 5.1.1. Then we've now just recently jailbroken it untethered with the absent. So thanks a lot, guys, for watching it. I hope you enjoyed this video tutorial slash demo. Like this video, comment, subscribe, and you will see a lot more coming from me very soon. Thanks a lot. Bye.